One more list. Yes. Just 3 of you guys. All right, that's awesome. All right, so today we have some real big heavy hitters here, not just in our office, but in all of Sacramento, greater Sacramento area. And it's a privilege to be able to hear from every one of you guys and what you guys are doing to be able to generate these leads and close them in such a high clip. So why don't we do this first? Starting from Jen, we'll introduce yourself, how long you've been in business, and just like a quick little fun thing about yourself. Let's start there.
Okay, I'm Jen Wiggum. I've been in business about 8.5 years now. Let's do something fun about myself.
Yeah, something interesting.
Interesting.
And or fun.
I homeschool my daughter. We've lived through 2 house remodels, which I don't suggest. And so now I'm getting back into like, what's our thing? That's what we're talking about this summer. So I'm just a family person again.
Love it. And you're homeschooling, you said your daughter?
Yeah, my daughter.
How long have you been homeschooling her?
3 years.
3 years, nice, awesome. All right.
And
Taylor?
the top 5%. How do you do that?
Wow.
Love it. Love it. Taylor?
I'm Taylor.
Energy drinks.
Energy drink. There you go. Caffeine is my happy place.
Okay.
The more caffeine you drink, the more money you make.
Okay.
Good with that.
Go ahead now.
That's no, that's an action plan. That's an
Good
action
hand.
plan.
I've been in real estate 7 years and at this office the whole time.
Awesome. So what is a fun thing about yourself? Fun fact.
What isn't fun about it?
Yeah, everybody doesn't know. I just do all things.
And the beautiful
I
thing is
too,
you can take
sometimes
the
homeschool my son. He's 19 months old.
I love it. Love it, love it. School morning arts there. All right, Parm.
My name's Farm. I've had my real estate license for 25 years.
Wow.
But I've been at this office since 2016. I was in lending before that. Most of you guys already know that. Fun fact about me, I do not homeschool my kids. God. Kudos to you that do. What else? I don't know. I have an unusual sense of humor, which
Those are the deals for fun.
yeah.
You said unusual sense
Sense
of.
of humor.
Okay, you gotta tell us a joke.
No, I don't think I say stuff and the team's like, oh my god, that was so funny, but I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's what, that was your.
I never heard you say that.
Yeah. Good. All right. Love it,
That's
love it.
awesome.
I'm Amethyst. I'm the baby out of this group because I've only been doing this for 6 years, full time since 2022.
Love it.
What my fun fact?
Fun fact.
I'm starting a side business of doing ceramics,
Oh.
and then on top of that, now I'm starting a side thing of doing a Midtown art market twice a year that coincides with that and my client events. So it's
Oh.
called networking Legion.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're hosting
Yes.
like
At
a,
my office in Midtown, I'm gonna host now twice a year, a spring and a fall. This first one will be in summer. An art market, so I'm having vendors come. We're gonna have a little converted VW bus bar. There'll be a Mexican fruit cart lady, and then yeah, a few different vendors. And so I'm gonna start doing that twice a year.
that's awesome.
And so that'll be cross promoted with the farmers market, and then it'll bring in new people for me to meet,
Yeah,
so I can sell them ceramics and houses.
there you go, love it. love
Amethyst,
it.
make sure you put it on circle so we can all attend.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, so this is gonna be a question, I think, like, the one that most people will wanna hear or wanna learn from you guys is how, and everybody gets an opportunity to answer this one, some questions I'm just gonna ask specific people. But how are you guys generating your listing leads consistently? And what's working best for you in today's market? So we'll start with Jen.
Okay, well, I brought this to show you guys today. So I realized that half of my listings right now are repeat clients. I've either sold them their house, bought multiple houses with them. So I sent out like it seemed like so amateur when I sent it out, but the lasting effect it had, like, so last year it just says like April showers bring May flowers. And I sent out a pack of flower seeds. And for 3 years now, my first initial mailing is still getting me listings to this day. And it was $1.80 like to send out.
Okay.
So like now, when I went on listing appointments this year, and there's been 5 sellers that have this still like hanging on their refrigerator.
Aw.
And then like other listing photos, like the flowers were blooming when we did listing photos, so, half of my business came from just like staying friends with my people, following them on social media, like cheering them on when things happened, and it's just like being relevant in their world, so that when the time comes to buy or sell, I'm the realtor that's right in front of them. And at first, I took so long to do this, because I love like the instant gratification. You're signing a listing with me now, we're writing an offer now. But the lasting effect that this had, like if I didn't do this, half my business wouldn't be there right now, or half my listings wouldn't be there.
So are you doing it just once a year? And how many people are you sending out?
Okay, so like I'm picking up from the mail today, Pop Rocks, that say like popping by to wish you a 4th of July, or I forget the exact like thing. Then I've done hot cocoa over Christmas, taco packets. So instead of like pop buys, because my clients are like so spread out, it would take me like 2 weeks to like drive around.
Mhm.
So I do like mail buys. So anything that can just fit in here for one stamp, taco seasoning, like let's talk about real estate. I'll do. Anything I can do.
Love it.
Send you one next time. But anything that can just fit in one stamp for $1.80, that, and it's not every time like, where's your real estate referrals? It's like popping by to say happy 4th of July. So I'll do it 3 to 4 times a year, like once a quarter.
Okay, so once a quarter, you're doing something to say top of mind. And then, I'm sorry, how many of these are you sending out a quarter?
Oh, 150.
150, okay, got it. And then it costs you about how much?
$1.75 to $2. This one was $1.80.
$1.80. I think if we were to all look at our database, we could probably easily identify 150 people within our circle, right? And it's $1, so pretty low investment to get this out and a really high return. For that, so, but you have to have a really good pun, right, to get to the.
I love it.
Love it.
Wait, can we ask questions?
What's that?
Can we ask questions?
Yeah.
You do 150 people, but then as your database grows, or your sphere grows, how do you decide who to drop off and keep on the list of 150?
Yeah, so it started at 100, so now I'm like up to 150. So
Okay.
I do, even my sellers, if they move out of state, I still send them to their next address, because
Yeah.
there's people here. I do orphan buyers, like if I have a listing and then somebody buys it, I still send it to them unless like their mom helps them buy. I don't know, that's weird. But then, just like if I meet somebody and they're like, hey, I'm gonna sell, or a friend from college, if I think that they're gonna buy or sell with me in the next 7 years, I add them to this.
Okay.
Because $1.80, and then like the lasting effect over 3 years so far is.
So you'll do more than 150, like you'll
Yeah.
keep going to a.
It's just growing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Okay, cool. Taylor, what about you? You signing another listing, sorry.
We distribute 20,000 flyers a month at people's door. We used to do a lot of West Sac, but the turnover there isn't that large. So we do all of Natomas and condos every single month. 3 or 4 times a year, we'll do a notepad. I'm sure a lot of you, if you live in Natomas, have one or have several.
That's
I mean,
all I
my
use.
clients have your.
Yeah,
love
yeah.
it. I know that is, I look forward to it.
Yeah, good. We just ordered 100,000 of them. They're on a ship from China right now.
With sellers that are taking notes.
Good.
I only thought, hey, you don't need this notepad. you know?
Before Taylor.
So,
Michael have hair on.
yeah,
Okay, so you said 20,000
Yeah.
a year?
A month.
A month.
a month, 20,000 a month we drop off.
Okay.
With a CMA. And then also, we've expanded our business, most of you guys know, to flipping houses, rehabbing and reselling.
Okay.
So when we go in to a listing, we can offer to buy their home versus listing it. And we get a lot of people that say, yeah, we'd rather do that. We've talked about that
Yeah.
before. But then we've grown to be able to market to distressed sellers, and that turns into a listing or a purchase for us. So that's how we've been able to grow what we either buy or list. Because if you don't like our offer, then we'll list it for you. And this is what we do and how we do it, and we get the list.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like when you show up to a listing appointment, you're not one-dimensional, but you're three-dimensional with what you're able to offer your clients.
Absolutely.
And
Every
your
time.
clients appreciate it.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Love it. Farm.
Database and our events. So we host about 4 events a year, one of
Okay.
which we just had yesterday, our Taco Tuesday event.
Oh, nice.
And we have a pie event in November. We have a paint night in March, and then one event just kind of floats based on what we want to do throughout the year.
Okay.
So calling the database is probably the number one thing
Okay,
that I do to
Yeah.
generate business.
so when you're calling your database, can you give us a little bit of like the cadence? Like, are you calling them every month? Are you? calling-
Quarterly,
Quarterly? Okay.
quarterly calls, and they get quarterly text, and they get quarterly emails.
Okay,
So basically following the DTD2 plan,
nice.
yes.
And then you said client event, so what is the leading up to the client event look like? What does the post-client event look like? What is the actual? client event?
Inviting the client to the event via email, text, and call. Thanking them for coming and letting anyone that didn't come know that we missed them,
Mm,
and we the touch plan around the event.
love it.
Yeah.
And then lastly, because I promise not to pick on you, each client event that you're hosting, tell us like a general budget of like what it costs for you
Oh,
to do.
each event varies, but
Okay.
like the taco event can be like under $1,000, paint night, actually about probably $1,000
Mm,
an event realistically. Because the paint night's only for about like 25 to 30 of our preferred clients or
Okay.
whatnot. Paint night could be like 50 people.
Okay.
Or somewhere in that range. Pie pickup is probably about the same.
Okay.
So pretty much for our cadence, we realized that about 70% of the people that RSVP come up to
mhm.
the event. Because there's always cancellations the day of or right before, there's add-ons. So we have about 70% show up rate. And I would say each event is under $1,000 for the budget.
Okay,
And we get referrals, like yesterday, we had clients that literally a past client, a multiple past client of mine. She brought she brought clients to our last year's taco event. They sold and purchased with us, and
Wow.
then they came to this event and they were joking, they're like, wow, we need to bring a client with us to this event next year, sorry, we didn't this time around.
You're like, yes,
And
please.
I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Shame on you for not. Exactly.
If you want a taco,
Yeah.
you have to bring a friend.
Exactly.
Okay, love it.
One
Love it.
referral, one taco, 3 referral. No,
Okay.
no. So, yeah, when we're inviting them to the event, it's more so to invite them, and then as a side product, obviously asking them like, if you know of anyone or have your real estate plan.
Yeah, and then one last thing, I know I said last time, how long have you been doing these contests?
I think this taco one was probably like our 4th or 5th year.
Okay,
The
and
pie
you do it once
pickup-
a year?
Yes,
Okay,
the
yeah.
taco one is usually in the month of May on a Tuesday.
Okay.
So we didn't host, we usually do it earlier in the month of May. But we didn't do it on the first Tuesday because it was Cinco de Mayo, the first day, and I asked myself, well, who wants tacos the day after Cinco de Mayo? And I was like, no one,
I
and
do.
then obviously, hey, everybody wants tacos all the time. And so we hosted it yesterday, which was the day after Memorial Day being off, but we still had a good turnout.
Awesome,
But each event, I think pies, we started in maybe 17 or 18.
okay,
Paint night, we've been doing for 4 or 5 years, and we have trusted vendors that we use every year.
nice,
Yeah.
nice, awesome, so you
So
create a
they've been
system.
going on, yeah.
Yeah,
People know who to expect for the paint night, people know who the taco guy is.
Yeah.
so.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, okay, perfect, and then lastly, again, please.
I actually do client events as well, so I use my sphere of influence and some of my events are open to anybody, including like public, and then some of them are just for clients I've done business with or they've sent me referrals. So I was doing an event quarterly, and this year I said, well, I'm only gonna do 3, and then now somehow I'm doing 5. But so I did roller skating and I took that one off. So that one's done, because that one was the one I did, coming like out of winter into spring. And that was kind of like the least turnout and kind of a more expensive one. So I cut roller skating. I do gelato, and this will be my 3rd one, and that's next week. And that one's cheap. It's like $200, and that's open to public. And then I do a VIP client event at my office. So I host a big party there, and I do a different theme every time. So I did a Spanish tapas party. last year, oh, we didn't really have a theme last year. We just had a woman come cater like little small fancy bites. And then this year we're doing like a big taco party event.
Yeah.
And then I do Santa hosted at my house. So, and that actually is open to public too, but
Oh,
usually it's people that I know that come to that one. So now I'm adding the art market in with that. So
Yeah,
for me, I like to be social. It goes along with like things I already like to do. Plus my wife doesn't let me entertain as much as I want. So this is a way that I like get that out of my system. Because I'm like, I'm making money from it. Let me throw a party.
yeah, awesome. And then out of curiosity, do you know, like, are you able to track like how many business that you're able to produce from each event?
I mean, I'm not tracking exact numbers, but that is, I mean, I'm all referral. Like
Okay.
everything that I do is referral. I've never
Okay.
paid for a lead. So everything is sphere of influence,
Yeah.
word of mouth, referrals. So it's all coming from that. So
Yeah.
I can always kind of pinpoint, oh yeah, I had that conversation with that client at the roller skating party. Now I'm selling her house.
Yeah.
So it definitely helps. And again, it's a reason to reach out. That's not about, hey, you ready to sell your house?
Yeah.
So it's an excuse to reach out, and it's not even about the people necessarily even showing up, because it's more about the touches than anything else.
Yeah,
But I mean, I do want everybody to show up. It's
Yeah.
more fun.
absolutely. No, that's awesome. And you get so many opportunities to have the touch points before the event even happens.
Yeah.
So, and then after.
And after.
And then on
Thanking
social
them,
media.
or like Farm said, saying, we missed you, you
Yeah.
know.
And
Hope
then
to see you
post-
next time.
Yeah, and then you post it on social media.
I post everything all the time.
And then I'm just like, man, I get the FOMO, like, man, I missed out on that, but, anyways, okay, next question is, what's your go-to strategy for pricing a home in today's market? And this question will be for Taylor.
Great. I need some advice.
It's dependent on the client. Every client's different. Some of them are like, no, I want this number and this is it and it is what it is. But then I have the conversation of like, okay, we'll try that for 2 weekends of open houses or a weekend, and then we're gonna have a serious conversation of where you need to be.
Mhm.
Can we all agree to that right now?
Mhm.
And they'll say yes. Other times, a lot of them are just like, you know, as long as it's within this range, I'm happy, but right now, what I'm seeing with our remodeled homes versus the ones that are kind of lived in is like the home has to be priced appropriately. It can't be at the top of the market unless it's fully remodeled.
Yeah.
And even then, it can take 2 to 3 weeks right now.
Mhm.
So for a lot of the resale clients that are, you know, that we flyer to, it's normally on the middle to lower end of the spectrum of 50,000, right? 525, 575, let's go 535, 545,
Mhm.
not go to the high end unless it's fully remodeled. And then just talking to them and showing them examples. You know, we sell so many homes, we can show them, this is what this sold for, this is what this comp is. But if you have someone that's really difficult, I would say put it at the price, as long as you're not gonna look ridiculous doing it, you
Yeah.
know, like way overpriced. And then get them to commit to that conversation on set date if it doesn't sell.
So do you have a price point that you know you're gonna reduce it to? And that's the part of your
Yeah.
strategy, say, hey, we're gonna put it up here, but
Yep.
if we don't get this by 15 days, we're going to
Yep.
have it be this price.
Exactly.
And what does that do for you, like, when you do have this conversation?
Well, it's kind of a win-win for both of us. They
Yeah.
think they know what their home's worth. I mean, we all know that. They
Yeah.
always think, you know, because they're so attached to it. But then after you show them, hey, it may not happen, then you're winning when it comes down to where it should be, and then it'll sell.
Yeah,
Or at least get way more traction or showings.
yeah. And Jen, what are you doing in today's market when a seller comes and says, I wanna price it on the higher end? What kind of conversations are you having?
So I take the listing because
Okay.
I don't want another realtor in their world.
Yeah.
Depending, like, so it is situationally, I'm not gonna take like hundreds of thousands of dollars over.
Okay.
But like, for instance, I have a house right now, I pumped them out at 850. They were like, we're not listing for less than 925. That was my fourth transaction with them.
Mhm.
So of course, I'm gonna take that, so another realtor doesn't come into their world
Yeah,
and do that first weekend on the market. We got an 850 offer.
Wow.
So at least they know like I priced it correctly. I also do a lot of like rural listings, and those are just like tough conversations. We're gonna be on the market for three to 6 months. That's just what it is up in the mountains.
Mhm.
So with that, the market out there is kind of pricing higher to accommodate for those price reductions, because we know it's gonna take that time period. So kind of a standard for me is to take a little bit of an overpriced listing, because that's just how it is up in the mountains.
Mhm.
But it's all situationally, as long as it makes sense
Okay.
and that we've talked about those price reductions, but like for that seller that I've done multiple transactions with all day long, I'm gonna take it
Yeah,
and see
yeah,
how
yeah.
it goes.
Okay, got it. So what's your pre-listing process look like and from initial contact to going live on?
The biggest, if anyone takes a takeaway from this, would be the one step that you can't miss is the pre-qual call. So I do a pre-qual call with all of the sellers that reach out or that are scheduled on my calendar.
Okay.
Cause before the pandemic, I would like have a listing appointment put on my calendar and I'd show up at the house. And I didn't know what kind of disc personality profile the client was. I, didn't have any relationship or rapport with them. And on a rare occasion, the client wasn't even there,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
So now I do a intro call that can last anywhere from 5 to like 20 minutes. In
Mhm.
some cases, it's almost like a mini listing presentation. But it's everything that I wanna know and setting the expectations.
yeah,
So asking them everything that is important to me so that I know what to focus on when I'm actually at the listing.
so break that down a little bit more. What kind of questions are you having? Like, give us an example of the questions. you're
So of course, going over motivation and timeline,
Okay.
asking them about updates, because like Taylor said, everyone thinks that it's like a castle, and Bill said that it's worth that, so obviously it must be worth that. So I always ask them about updates, and if they haven't done any, focusing on that, using correct language, oh, so you haven't done any updates to the homes.
Okay.
Even asking them based on the condition of your home or an update you've done or lack thereof, what do you think a home like yours would sell for in this market? So
Mm.
it gives me, that's a very important question, because it gives me an idea of what they think their home truly is worth.
Okay.
And then it allows me to better, prepare for the appointment. Like, do I need to focus on compensation? Do I need to focus on price? Do I need to focus on marketing? Like, what are they really?
Yeah, so it sounds like you have a plan, a game plan going into a listing appointment because you have this pre-conversation.
And also it helps me determine whether it's a realistic seller. If it's not, then I'm not gonna waste my time going on. a listing
Yeah.
appointment, right? It might just be a nurture. Doesn't mean that they're not a valid seller, but they may not be a realistic seller,
Okay,
right?
yeah, awesome. What do they say? They say if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail, right? Self-harm is a planner. Love it. All right, and this question is for Amethyst. How do you help sellers emotionally detach from their home to trust your marketing strategy?
See, that question was hard for me.
Okay.
It was so- Because I'm like, I don't, well, I don't really have, I mean, I guess in a divorce situation,
Okay.
I guess you just listen.
Yeah.
Cause it is emotional, but you have to help them through it. So I guess just being a good listener and being positive and trying to show them the silver lining in the situation. So it
Yeah.
just depends on what the situation is.
Yeah.
I haven't really had many divorce sales, and the ones that I have, they've actually been friends, so it's like I already knew what was going on anyway.
Yeah.
And then everything else is like, they're more exciting sales, so there's nothing really that's been like, they have to disconnect
Okay,
emotionally. So
Yeah.
that question was a little bit hard for me, so thanks for that, Brian.
let's catch it TV. That's all. All right, yeah, no, that's, and then I think Amethyst said a key word there. She said, listen, right? I went on a listing appointment. I don't know if you guys aren't here to hear me talk. I went on a listing appointment because I failed to listen. I ended up losing out on that listing, right? So good job on listening. All right, in competitive markets, how do you make your listing stand out, especially online?
Okay, so I just had the proof of concept on this, which I'm super proud about. I was selling a ranch out in like the boonies, like out very rural. 20 acres, literally double over the average price point for the county. So we were listed at 930, average price point was like 500. 20 acres, like literally 5 miles down a rural private road. So we did a lifestyle video, because living out there, you're literally watering the orchard, feeding the cows, riding the side-by-sides, shooting guns.
You
So
were shooting guns in your video.
I just, so
Great video.
they had like the skeet shoot, whatever.
Oh.
It's like good boys that like shoot it and such, so, my photographer, we did the lifestyle video showing off, because it's definitely like how you live there.
Yeah,
And I prepped them for 6 months. 4 months came along. One morning I got a private message on Facebook that was like, hey, Jen, I love this house. It's the perfect thing for me. And I'm like, wait, what? Okay, let me back up. I'm sorry. So I took the lifestyle video and then I share it into all the private Facebook groups. So like Angels Camp Bulletin Board, Frogville Jump, like very hyper local groups.
Mhm.
And that's how the buyer found the property. She's like, I see my kids shooting the guns. I see my kids feeding the animals. Like I see myself walking through that orchard. I double ended it 5% on 30.
Nice.
And my seller literally was like, Jen, I can't thank you enough. And I'm so happy to pay you that commission because she knew that it was like all the other houses in the county, they take some aerials, throw it up online, that's the end of it. And
Okay.
we had to like sell that lifestyle.
Love that, love that. Now,
We'll go down the market.
It was like 4 months.
Yeah.
But that was kind of quick for like.
Shooting the gun, I mean, the whole lifestyle, I kind of lost that part.
We stuck in that part too. I was like,
so Taylor, here's a question for you. What do you do? Okay, so that's a very unique property. Okay, Taylor, what do you do with the cookie cutter homeless home where there's like 6 of those on the market?
Yeah,
What do you do to stand out on those?
staging
particular-
and what? Or
Make it
buy
big.
it. Staging is big, for sure. Photos that David does have always been great.
Yeah.
I think there was a question about also like if something's stale, what I've found, which is weird, but you can just reduce the price by like $500 or $1,000. I don't know if anyone's done that before, but I've tried it. And it gets a lot more interest because it gets re-emailed out on all the websites, like, oh, price reduction. Then people are thinking, oh, it's still on the market, or maybe it came back. Oh, I was interested in this, let me come back to it.
Mhm.
So it's really just doing that and then open houses all the time.
Mhm.
And I think for all 4 of us and a lot of you, it's who they choose as their realtor, but I'm always available. I am always working.
Mhm.
And so I think there's a lot of agents out there that don't sell homes as quick as we do because they're not answering the call or getting back to someone.
Mhm.
And so they could potentially go to someone's listing and their client likes it and they call and they don't get any call back for a couple days, or maybe the agent missed it. And then they come to Harm's listing or my listing and we call them back and we follow up and we're willing to work a win-win situation together. Parm and I have done many, many deals, always a win-win.
Yeah.
And that's what the other agent feels through the phone,
Okay.
and their buyer then gets that communicated like, oh, Taylor or Parm are great, they want to work with us, let's make a deal, and then close it.
And this one, we might not be on there, but what is like your marketing strategy to get your, because you always do a phenomenal job marketing your
Thank you,
listings. I see it on my feed all the time.
thank you.
So tell me a little bit about your process, your system on getting marketing and getting your home sold, your listing sold.
I mean, I like everything to be beautiful and I'm really detail oriented. So I do my consultation with my clients and then I see if I can bring in my contractors and see what can we do to like get this in tip top shape. So we can do fresh coat of paint, you know, any sort of like lighting, whatever we can do to make it pretty. And so I've overseen the tiniest projects to like full interior, exterior renovations for my clients
Mhm.
to net more money. And then, like Taylor said, it's like staging, like, and my stager's amazing. It all has to be perfect. And David does the photos and sometimes video. So it just, everything has to be pretty and aesthetic and pleasing. And I want it to stand out in that way. So I
Okay.
feel like, I don't know, I want everything to look really pretty. And I get comments on it,
Yeah.
like, how do you always have these pretty listings?
Yeah,
I do the work to make them pretty.
yeah,
They don't always start out that way.
yeah. So you do everything you can to get your home in the best condition that it could be.
Yeah,
within the
in like the eyes that I would want to see it in, or like I would walk the client in and be like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, this detail, they didn't like cut corners here or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pet peeve.
Okay.
So like, I look at it like that.
Got it. And then how much time do we have, Michelle, until 12?
Until 12, but
Okay.
sometimes I do go to 12:15, because
Okay.
this is a great panel right here. We want
Awesome.
to make sure everybody gets.
Are you guys enjoying listening to the property? Okay, perfect.
We can pass these around if people want to look at it.
Yeah.
This is what I bring to my sellers, at my listing appointment.
Awesome.
And
Okay,
I email it if it's a seller that's not living in the house and in the area anymore.
yeah, and I'm gonna give an opportunity for every one of you guys to answer this question, which is, what is your mindset, what mindset or habit have helped you stay consistent and grow your listing business year over year? And we'll end with this question.
Can you, say that again for us? Can you
Okay.
repeat that
More
for the
than
jury?
that.
No, I processing it all.
Well, and you kind of heard that on this a little bit, right? But what mindset or habits have you stayed consistent to grow your listing business year over year? So what's the mindset or habits that you do consistently so that your listing business? Want me to repeat it one more time?
No, I got it.
All right, Taylor,
No, I
you go.
I-
You go
yeah,
first.
you go first.
You got it.
I don't really take a day off, like. I love doing this, I
Yeah.
work all the time, if you go in my office, up above my computer, it says work harder.
Already got it.
So
I
it's
go in
like,
there to get inspired.
Yeah.
Taylor thinks I'm there to have conversations, I'm there to look at that.
Yeah.
We catch it.
Yeah, just doing a good beer.
Uh,
No, I think it's just having that mindset of always wanting more, but also to help people.
Mhm.
And then it just grows, like I never go into an appointment or go in to buy someone's home with how much money are we gonna make on commission, or how much can I flip this for, this, that, or the other. I go in to help them and then it turns into something. And then that just snowballs into more and more business.
Okay.
And thankfully, working with Mike, he built a name that we can just continue to snowball and get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And just have more calls to come in, but it's really like, I love doing it, so it doesn't really feel like work to me,
Love it.
you know, so.
I love what you said. You said you go in to see what you can do to help.
Yeah.
Right? So your value proposition is, I want to be able to help solve your problems.
Mhm.
Love that. And you go in with that mindset, not what I'm gonna pay first.
Yeah, can we remodel it, like Amethyst said, and get you more money? Can we buy it from you? No commissions, no closing costs, no inspection.
That point.
And or can we list it how it sits?
Yeah.
So there's no reason that they should do anything else
Yeah.
other than one of those three, and then we just pick
Yeah.
which one that works best.
Love it. Love it. Jen?
I think I have a lot of goals and mouths to feed, so I just like keep going. I like never stop, so I just keep working. And something that really did help me though, like lead gen on my calendar was so like I dreaded it,
Okay.
like with a passion. So I changed it to like get those listings, girl, or something like that, like a pick me up for myself. When I would check in with my sellers, it says like chat with sellers, not like a check-in, so it felt like it was like.
Just a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so now this is like, it fits and resonates with me more that I'm like, yeah, let's go get those listings.
Yeah.
And I have goals, so I just keep going until there's more goals to reach.
Love that.
I got a question for you, so then you, I love what you just said, I was like, I don't know Legion, but you changed it. What is your primary Legion? Do you do social media, do you primary some mailers, like what do you do?
So mainly is social media mailers, and I do a lot of networking. My husband's also a lender, so I kind of have the insights to get like deals that way. But I like to just be a friend more than anything. I don't like it to feel like a transaction, because then it's like weird. I just like want to meet you where you're at. If we're good to work together and we can continue that, great. Then I just want it to be like, it just flows, not like it's like hard, well, we do a lot of hard work, but I just feel that if it like just flows naturally, then that's how it should be. But just like the thought of like lead gen, which is so like, just mentally for me, was just so hard to get past through.
Yeah. Okay. So you time block your, go get that listing girl on your calendar,
Yeah,
and you do it every day? Is it Monday through Friday? Is it,
2 days a week.
okay,
So it's like 2 days a week, 1 day a week is following up with sellers, and then another time slot is like working my buyers.
love it. I love how you have made your business your own, right? So like you're doing Popeyes and then you're doing the things that you want to do. So that's awesome. So thanks for sharing that. Farm. Question, you're up next.
Mindset.
Mindset and habits. So mindsets and habits that you grow.
I think it's just about, just like we have a job, just showing up to work
Okay.
and doing it realistically and knowing that there's a higher purpose. We're not here just making widgets or whatnot, we're impacting other people's lives,
Hmm.
right? Whether, like a lot of my sellers right now are either in that whole, I'm sure you guys have seen articles on it, you know, the largest generation of wealth, in terms of boomers downsizing. So those are big family decisions, that people are selling properties, doing things with them. So being there to educate and just be an ear to listen to.
Mhm.
And then I'm with this deal with, it feels like a lot of separation sales, especially since after the pandemic.
Mm.
So being able to manage those two different personalities, so, what keeps me going is probably just at the end of the day, knowing that I'm helping someone.
Yeah.
Get
Okay.
through sometimes some of the most challenging
Yeah,
times, because
Yeah.
selling homes is not always fun,
yeah,
especially when you have to talk about price reductions.
yeah. Yeah. All right, Amethyst?
So I'll start with mindset. So at the beginning or at the end of each year, or at the beginning of each year, I make like a big list of goals and things I want to accomplish. And then as the year goes on, I revisit that and I make smaller lists off that. And then I make to-do lists like almost daily and I tick boxes. I do the things and tick boxes. And so it'll be like, contact this person or, talk about this event. Like I keep lists going so that I can stay on track and revisit it often.
Mhm.
And then mindset, I have a hard time with because it is hard sometimes you get in your own head, when you feel like something is sitting on the market for too long and it's frustrating and I have to like tell myself to be positive, but I just bring myself back to that or I throw myself into something else. So this year I was having a hard time with mindset and I was like, well, then I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna learn how to do reels. And I like bought all the stuff and I filmed them myself and I just started contacting other agents and doing that and throwing myself into that so that I'm doing something that will make me feel good. It'll help my business. It'll
Yeah.
create a new mindset. So I force myself into my mindset when I need to.
Love that, love that. All right, guys, well, oh, Michelle.
What is the one question that we haven't asked you that has really pushed your ceiling in your business? Something that's different, because this is like a question that Gary Keller always asks the panel. What is that one thing that we haven't asked you that you're like, I should share this? Or the one thing that you need to stop doing for your business, or what is the one thing that I need to start doing for my business?
I have the mentality and mindset to wake up every day at 0, and I think a lot of people don't think of it that way. So, because it's commission based, you never know when your next deal's coming, you never know when your next paycheck's coming, you never know when the next listing's coming.
Mhm.
So, if you can wake up with that mindset, then you can have a different outlook on your day. And like what Harm said is you have to treat it like a job, like a 9-to-5 job,
Mhm.
whereas I think a lot of agents don't.
Mhm.
They just do what they want to do when they want to do it, and then they say, I'm not getting any deals.
Mhm.
Well, go treat it like a 40-hour work week or a 60-hour salary job working for a corporate company, and you'll be making way more than any of those corporate people. And so you have to wake up at 0 every day and then go out hustle all the other people in order to make
Yeah,
the money you want to make.
love that.
Anybody else want to chime in on that one?
I'd say just be prepared to hear no's. There's nothing wrong with hearing a no, because you need to track how many no's. If it's something new you're getting into, right? Like say if you're buyer heavy and you need to get in a listing,
Mhm.
just because you heard a no doesn't mean that you're not gonna be a listing specialist. You just need to count how many no's you need to get to that yes.
Mhm.
And then once you've figured that out, then you work on improving that number.
Right, love that.
So just be prepared, because you're not gonna get 100% of
Yeah.
your listing appointments. That would be.
Yeah.
You know,
And if you do, you're not going on enough listing appointments.
There you go.
Yeah,
right,
so,
yeah,
yeah,
there you
yeah,
go,
love
right?
that.
I guess mine would be to remind yourself that there's more than enough to go around. There's always enough for everybody. And it's hard with social media because you're always comparing yourself to other people. So you always see this person's closing this person. So there's enough to go around. Have that mindset.
Yeah, so stay focused on your own goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and stay focused on what you're doing. Don't be discouraged by what other people are doing or not doing.
Yeah.
Love that.
Social media is everyone's best day, just remember that.
Mhm.
That goes back to that question on mindset.
Mhm.
So like, just remember, when we're posting on social media, think of all the stuff that didn't get posted on social media to get to that point.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Awesome.
This last year and a half has really taught me, like, do more, go above and beyond, like, be, like, my clients have instant access to me, even if it's just like an auto response, so they like know I'm there. We're not buying like an M&M bag, like it's their biggest purchase of their life. So I just feel like doing more and being there to support them has won business for me so much more. Like I've had numerous sellers say like, oh, last time we listed, we didn't hear from the agent for 3 weeks. I'm like, don't worry, you'll hear from me every week. You can't get away from me. So I think it's just being like doing more, going
Yeah.
above and beyond in everything that we do to really stand out.
Love that. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. Hopefully you guys
Thank you.
enjoyed. Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you so much, you guys. You're on the day, go get a listing. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Keep sitting.
No.
Computer.
Figure it out.
So I made my first one and it's right, but it's.
Right, I think, David.